So I just fully recorded the audio for the whole video on a camera that was not turned on. So I'm kicking myself right now. For the weekly new book releases, we are doing something different again this week, as this is going to be the final one for the year. When I was looking at the new books coming out over the next few weeks, each week it wasn't enough to make a full list. So I'm just combining them. These are going to be the books releasing on the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. In December, they really want to push the books out ahead of time. That way people will buy them for Christmas. And without further ado, I'm going to start this list all over again. Hopefully then we will have less hiccups of saying things wrong. On December 16th, we are starting in YA fantasy with The Uninvited. When 17-year-old Tosh Reeves moves from Portland, Oregon to Paris, it's a dream come to life. The city embraces her with its street life, iconic architecture, and infinite gastronomic delights. From the medieval catacombs to the viciously competitive street art scene, Tosh's immersion into Paris makes her feel wholly alive in a way she's never seen before experienced. But then a series of brutal vampire attacks start threatening the city, including her newfound bohemian friends and family. I do not remember what time period this is supposed to take place. Possibly modern, possibly not so much. Moving, though, to adult fantasy, coming out on the 16th, is The Once and Future Queen by Paula Lafferty. It says it's Outlander meets The Princess Bride, set in Camelot. This is also the first in a new series. 22-year-old Vera is at a crossroads, waiting tables, grieving her previous relationship, and jogging aimlessly each morning as if toward an uncertain future. Then an odd man shows up at her workplace, insisting that she was once the legendary Queen Guinevere of Camelot, and that her lost memories hold the key to changing both the past and the present. Somehow, it all feels like a direction she's been looking for. So an Arthurian sort of retelling action fantasy. Another new series starting is The Morning Sun by Joseph Elliott Coleman. This one is supposed to be an urban fantasy for fans of Hellboy, The Dresden Files, and Full Metal Alchemist. When the French town of Château suffers the first murder in over 100 years, the police discover to their horror that the victim, a teenager, was murdered by supernatural means. This necessitates immediate contact with the Special Inquisition branch, trained sorcerers to deal with the threats of both the supernatural and extraterrestrial kind. As an ancient past and immediate present collide, the streets of Château become a battleground as both the lives and souls of the town's residents and possibly the world hang in the balance. And you are following a special investigator who is recently grieving the loss of his wife, and this impacts his magic. And then on December 23rd, we have The Poisonous Crown by Mayana. This is a more dark, gritty, epic fantasy series starting that had many trigger warnings for torture, blood, gore, scenes of violence. Forged from the ashes of the land of Orina, where a forgotten religion and ancient fairy tales twist into nightmares. This tale is no gentle fable. It is cruel, unflinching, and mercilessly real. A world drenched in blood and betrayal, where torture and injustice reign, and monstrous beings walk beside us, some cloaked in human flesh, others clawing their way from the realms long hidden. Here, the gods are no saviors, and they always demand their due. Very dark sounding. Then on December 30th, we have A Dark Academia, An Arcane Inheritance by Camila Cole. Warren University has stood amongst the Ivy elite for centuries, built on the bones and forbidden magic of its most prized BIPOC students, hiding the rot of a secret society that will do anything to keep their powers burning bright, no matter who they must sacrifice along the way. Emery Morgan is determined to prove that she belongs at Warren University, an Ivy League school whose history is deeply linked to the occult, rumors, and dark secrets. But as she settles into her freshman year, something about the ornate buildings and shadowy paths feels strangely familiar. And with every passing day, that sense of deja vu grows increasingly sinister. This one, I was not fully sure if it's going to be more fantasy-coded and leaning, or its romantic subplot might be more. That would be The Caprian by Mercedes Lackey. This is the next in her Elemental Masters series, but they are a series of standalone reads, so kind of self-contained stories within this overall world. Elena Whitstone and her 7 brothers, abandoned by their mother, find themselves with a new stepmother. At first, she seems more neglectful than evil, until just after Christmas, she proves herself to be worse than evil. She is an actual magician, a master of water who attempts to murder Elena's 7 brothers when they're skating. When they survive that attempt by transforming into swans, she drives them away. Alone, Elena must not only find a way to save herself, but to reverse the spell that has transformed her brothers. I'm not sure how the romance aspect works into this, but there's someone else that's going to help her, where she's, I guess, not so alone. This is a retelling of something that I forgot the name of, possibly with swans in the title. For actual romantasy, on December 30th, we have We Who Will Die by Stacey S. Stark. Life in the perilous Thorn District is a constant battle for Avril and her younger brothers, and the vampire standing on her doorstep is about to turn their world upside down. Faced with an unthinkable choice, Aravel makes a magically binding vow to do the impossible, kill the Emperor, an ancient vampire created by the god Umbros. But first, she must enter the Sundering, an arena where only the fastest, strongest, and deadliest survive long enough to be selected as the Emperor's elite guard. It's got the competition settings, so that alone made it super interesting. And then, of course, there will be the deception of the vampire guard knight captains that she must deal with, the one from her past, some sort of romance, of course, situation, because it is said to be super romantasy. But the cover looks really cool in the competition setting. For actual romance, though, starting on December 16th, we have The Great Popcorn Romance by Georgia Beers. How it starts. Her best friend Kyle suggests Riley take a job at Poptacular, his grandmother's gourmet popcorn shop. Spending the summer mixing caramel and cheddar sounds like fun, right? Spoiler alert, it's not. Enter Kyle's little sister Hannah and her stubborn refusal to try any ideas that aren't her own. How it's going. Years have passed, and Riley's no longer a victim of her teenage hormones. She's a high-powered consultant who travels from city to city, helping struggling businesses. Distance weakens the magnetic field, and Riley doesn't think about Hannah Kramer. Not ever. So when Kyle calls to say Poptacular is in trouble and on the brink of closing its doors, her first thought definitely isn't of Hannah. So maybe second chance, but also maybe more rivals to lovers situation. It just sounds super fun and cute. It's around popcorn. Also on the 16th is 300 New Year's Eves by K.C. Carmichael. Sergio Durand, renowned photographer and playboy extraordinaire, plans to welcome the new year in style. The festive spirit turns sour when Sergio crosses paths with Jeremy Owens, the one who got away. After a series of blunders leaves everyone around him fuming, Sergio finds himself caught in a bizarre twist of fate, a time loop forcing him to relive New Year's Eve repeatedly. With each reset, Sergio scrambles to mend broken bonds with his brother, pacify a disgruntled Rose, and perhaps rekindle a lost love with Jeremy. So this one is definitely a second chance. Definitely. And a groundhog situation, of course, with the time loop thing. If you're looking for a holiday, cute, maybe cozy romance that wasn't Christmas, go for a New Year's one. Then on December 30th, we have In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams, the next in the When in Rome series of standalone novels. Madison Walker left Rome, Kentucky, determined to make it in the culinary world. But after years of chasing success in New York, all she has to show for it is her shattered confidence and a desperate need for a fresh start. Coming home isn't part of the plan, until an unexpected job offer lands in her lap. The head chef position at the new farm-to-table restaurant in her hometown. The only catch? It comes from James Huxley, owner of Huxley Farm, her brother's best friend. This series, it sounds adorable, and maybe one day I will start the fluffy, cozy, adorable series. For thrillers, starting out on December 16th is You Can Scream by Rebecca Zanetti. This is the next book in the Laurel Snow series. From the first book, though, it introduces you to Laurel Snow, an FBI investigator, and she wouldn't call hunting a serial killer a vacation. But with a pile of dead bodies unearthed near her Genesee Valley, Washington hometown, she'll take what she can get. Yet something about this case stirs her in unexpected ways. Like the startling connection she feels to Dr. Abigail Kane, a fiercely intelligent witness with a disturbing knack for making Laurel feel like she has something on her. There's Laurel's attraction to Huck Rivers, the fish and wildlife officer guiding her to the crime scene and into the wilderness. Every book in this series has like over a 4-star rating. So I'm like, okay. Also coming out on the 16th is May Contain Murder by Orlando Morin. While his flooded house undergoes repairs, chef-turned-writer Paul Domer has been offered an accommodation upgrade, an all-expenses-paid trip aboard a private super yacht in the company of Zara, one of his dearest friends. Paul will help Zara work on her memoir as Maidamir glides its sumptuous way toward the Caribbean. When Zero's priceless new necklace goes missing, Paul falls under suspicion, but there's far worse in store as one of the passengers is found dead in mysterious and grisly circumstances. The stormy weather matches the threatening mood on board, and as Maidamere veers off course, every semblance of order goes with it. So, older main characters, not even a detective, so amateur sleuths and locked room almost because they're stuck on a yacht. Finally, in fiction, on the 30th, we have Run for Your Life, Callie Kingman by Ali Frank and Asha Yeomans. 2 decades have passed since Callie Kingman begrudgingly followed her husband Thomas across the country in pursuit of his career at the expense of her own. Today, Callie is an empty nester with no job prospects, a declining mother, and a spouse who announces his intention to leave her in Sacramento, the dullest city in America. His parting potshot, "It's not me, it's you." Taking to bed, Callie relies on delivery for food, her neighbor for booze, and her college best friend for commiseration. When an overdue annual exam leads to a health scare, Callie is forced to contend with her fractured and unfulfilled life by revisiting the vibrant, indomitable woman she used to be. So, Ace, is that coming of age a finding yourself sort of story, reinventing your life? That is it for my final list of 2025. As always, if there are other books coming out that you would love to give a shout out to, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. I just hope that you found something you want to pick up, maybe that you're having a great holiday season, rest of the year. Wow, that's it for 2025. We will soon begin talking about the 2026 anticipated releases, January releases, all the books that we can't wait to get to. I hope you're finding something great to read today, taking care of yourself, and that I will see you in the next one.